we keep going, and we don't pause to reflect, where am I? How am I really feeling? What do I really need? We're living in a world that is telling us like, you get to be hustling, you get to be working hard. If you're not doing, you're lazy. Thank God for human design that explains that not always we get to be hustling and working, right? But also it's about coming back to yourself, coming back to your truth, coming back of who am I being, how am I feeling when I'm not everything for everyone.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of Witchy Wellness Radio, the show you learn how your body and emotions are not in the way, they're actually leading the way. And today we have the glowing and beautiful Petia Kolilbova Burns on, and we are talking about abundance and light activation. She is an abundance and light activation coach who guides women to intuitively connect with their inner vision so they can experience personal and professional magnetism and become unapologetically abundant. Her mission is to empower visionaries who are on the path to embody their fullest self-expression, to soulfully expand into a quantum leap in all dimensions of their life. There's so much more. I don't even know if I don't want to dive into that second half because it's also juicy, but welcome, Petia. I'm so excited to have you on the show for the second time, actually.
I'm so honored to be here, and I will take it as a compliment that I'm like too much. It's so funny when you're like, when you meet people, or when you like, let's take it a simple way. When you go on Instagram and in 160 characters, you're supposed to explain people who you are, where you're coming from, what you can do for them. I'm like, are you crazy? Like, I cannot put this even in a book, So then when we are like, oh, can you send us a short bio? I'm like, how do you want me to short myself into like 200 words,
Yeah.
So it's I know it's a lot.
No, but I think that first half just so succinctly goes to the core and the essence, but I want to, don't want to give it all away because I want to hear it from your beautiful soul yourself. How did you get to be doing this work and helping lead other women to find their own magnetism and abundance in their lives?
I love this question. And, if I would believe in accidents, I would say that I ended up here by accident, one huge coincidence. I definitely, like, looking back, Lauren, I never planned to be who I am, and I never planned to be where I am. It kind of sort of like happened. And thankfully, what I really love about how I do lead my life is I trust and I take the steps, even if they make no sense whatsoever in the moment, because then we are looking back and like, wow, there was a breadcrumb, for me to take and go through this. So I feel like for me, it was just like one day at a time, one step at a time, and becoming the person that I needed myself on my journey. And then now it's so funny because now I'm becoming the mother that I needed on my journey. And this is not like dumping, like my life was like, terrible, because we all have our wounds, we all have our traumas. It's like, the heroine journey, we all have obstacles that we have overcome. And I don't believe that there is like bigger and smaller. It's like our perspective. And of course, like, I understand there are some like really like big things, like your like abuse and living in a war and things that we think that will never happen to us, and then when we experience them, we're like, wow, so this doesn't happen only in the movies. So I get that. But when I look back, I see that I became the one that I needed by embodying the full version of who I came here to be. And also understanding I keep becoming and unbecoming and learning and unlearning. Like, one time you think like, oh, I'm done, I have healed this, I am good, and then slap in the face from the universe, right? It's like, oh heck no, we have more layers, we have more things to go to. And so, being coach, mentor, and guide for women and reminding them of how to stay aligned with their truth, how to come back to themselves, rewrite all limiting beliefs, help them with deconditioning. Because the women who come to me, they're called to work with me. They're women who want to create bigger impact. They're not just money motivated. They don't come to me and they are not like, oh, I want to make 100K a month, then I will be happy. They know and they see there is a bigger meaning. And like, I love money and I love what it brings and what it can do for us. But the women who come to me, they're impact motivated, freedom motivated, and they come and they're like, I want to help more people, I want to feel good, and I want to do things that bring me joy and satisfaction. So I had to become that version of me too, and I'm still becoming it.
Yeah, ongoing. And I always ask this question, but we also preface it, it's ongoing. It's never going to stop. And that's the beautiful part of
Yeah.
this journey on planet schoolroom Earth, if you will.
It definitely is. And, like, I feel like I love how you're really looking at it, because it's something exciting versus looking at it as something heavy and never ending and chasing the next thing. Like, I feel like many of us been there when we are chasing the next thing, like, oh, when I have the money, when I have the house, when I have the partner, when I have the kids, like, then I will be happy. And you're checking off the list and it still doesn't feel fulfilling and right, because you're so future oriented that you're not celebrating what is now. Even if we want to even more, even if we want to change situation, but if you're not celebrating yourself, then you're always living in scarcity. Then you're always living in what is missing. So instead of focusing on what is missing, how can we look where we are and start celebrating where we came from and who we have become and who we have helped?
I mean, we could just end the podcast right there. I feel like we just, mic drop on that. And it sounds so simple, right? It sounds so, it feels good because you can feel the truth and all of that. And it's like my own journey, like you said, you just have to continually become that woman over and over. And, 2 years ago, year and a half ago, I found myself so stuck in that future, future tripping is what I call it, if then mindset, wanting to like rush to get the checked off the list. And then I came to reality, oh my God, I know all these principles, and look at where this part of my mind is focusing. And I totally had to realize that this wasn't my life that I created. What do I want? And, moved across the country, ended a relationship, and manifesting a new relationship. And within that same year, quitting my corporate job of over 10 years, like literally transformation. And it really came because of the opportunity my body received a physical diagnosis. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so healthy. I practiced medical medium protocol already. Like what, why? And then I was like, wait a second. If my thoughts and beliefs create everything in my reality, including my body, I got to take a deeper look, because there's some shadow that wants to be seen, something that wants to be healed. So all these major changes came into my life. And now, a year and a half, 2 years later, I'm really still integrating them to the other side of that. So I knew what I didn't want, and now it's like integrating more and more. And I have this deeper clarity of who I am. And like you said, being present, seeing where I came from, but being so present in who I am. And it's like when we get to this stage, we automatically, we feel so full and abundant. We want to give back and help people and whatever, feels aligned with us. And yeah, so I wanted to, we talked off air about, what's really coming up for me. And that little backstory kind of leads to this balance of being in alignment and taking the action of your energy, being your alignment is the most important thing. You can be trying to do all of the things, all of the actions, all of the 3D things. Yet if your energy is still in that lack, you're not going to see same results as what you expect to get. So I wanted to like open it up to hear your beautiful goddess wisdom on this topic and just dive in wherever you want.
Oh, you're so sweet. I feel so honored and I just adore being in your energy and in your essence. It's so beautiful because what I really love about you, it's like you continuously doing the work and you're bringing people with you on the journey. It's not like picture perfect life. It's like, hey, this is where I am. This is what I'm working through. And it makes you so relatable and so impactful to other people. And it's just very life-giving because whatever you learn, you share and you grow through it with other people. Like, it's so beautiful, like what an awareness you have about yourself emotionally and about your body. And it's not like blaming yourself and blaming your body. It's like, okay, let's pause here and let's reflect. And this is something that I feel like it's missing sometimes. Like, we keep going, and we don't pause to reflect. Where am I? How am I really feeling? What do I really need? We're living in a world that is telling us like, you get to be hustling, you get to be working hard. If you're not doing, you're lazy. Thank God for human design that explains that not always we get to be hustling and working, right? But also it's about coming back to yourself, coming back to your truth, coming back of who am I being, how am I feeling when I'm not everything for everyone, whether it's in your relationship, your health, your life, your business. Because Lauren, you're doing medical medium, you're doing more than most, right? You're taking care of yourself and your health, and you're like, wow, my thoughts and emotions are creating something that I prefer not to experience. What gets to change? So you're not judging it, you just pause and reflect. And this is something that I really feel that we get to do more of. Pause and reflect. Pause and reflect, because it's so easy to get on this never-ending train. Like, I have to do this for my health. I have to do this for my body. I have to do this for my family. I have to do this for my business. I have to do this for my income. We get so busy just doing that we forget about the being. And sometimes it can be also a little trap, because what I have also realized is I was so much in my masculine, the doing, the proving, the achievement, the school, the relationship, body, whatever, right? Like doing all these things. I burn out. I get like, like I had adrenal fatigue. I had pain in my joints. Like I had in so many things that thank goodness I healed through medical medium. And it was not just the nutrition. It's the basis, because if you're eating crap, it doesn't matter how much meditation and reflection you're doing. Let's be honest. You cannot be drinking like, gallons of coffee or alcohol or, sorry, but cacao every day, and then like be like, like, oh, like I want to feel amazing and aligned. Well, what you're putting in your body, this vessel then will be able or not able to receive. This is something, and I don't know if you notice it, I will be starting to do it more and more on my account. It's bringing in a little bit more of the nutrition too, because women, they come to me and they're like, oh, I want more money and I want more blah 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 clients, and I want to heal my relationship, or I want to find the one, but they're not nurturing themselves. They don't feel safe in their body. So I went from like this wounded masculine and doing into burnout. Physically, I was sick all the time. So I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I went to complete the opposite. I went just into my being. I just went into my feminine. I didn't want to do like nothing, no planning, no strategies. I'm like, oh, I'll just go with the flow. And that didn't work either. So if you're like on one side or the other side, come back to the center, come back to yourself, see what is more natural for you, like also through human design, you can see if you're built more natural to be more passive and feminine, or if you're built to be more active and masculine. You will always have both. what are you like, what is more natural to you, and how can you balance it in your life? So that's what I had to learn. How do I balance my masculine? How do I balance my feminine? I was too much in my masculine in my business, and that was capping my income, because there is only so much you can do without doing the energetics, without being in alignment. You can hustle your way through, but it's not soulful success. And that's what I stand for really holistic abundance. How is your body? How is your soul? How are your relationships? How are you feeling? It's not about going and grinding and making more and having more. How are you feeling in the world? So bringing it like all in, I really admire like who you're being and becoming, because it's, again, it's so holistic, bringing it all in, the emotions, the nutrition, the healing, the relationships, the job, everything, like every single part of you. It's so expansive, and you're inspiring other people on how to expand too.
Well, likewise to you too. Oh my gosh. Ugh. Yeah, I don't even know where to dive in there. I think the nutrition part too, and I feel called to talk about it more too. It's funny you say that, but not funny you say that, right? Is because
Who is with me in the bed, you know?
of course, there we go, medical media. Mine's in the cupboard over there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's like even just a simple thing, you know, medical medium, like the morning cleanse, or just when you wake up, just even just drinking a glass of water, lemon water would be beautiful, just room temperature. Just doing that, I think, would help so many people. Like it's so basic to just be able to be hydrated. And then for me, celery juice had just, I personally feel so good and clear. Like it just, I'm in charge of my own emotional vibration, but when you support your body to meet you there, like you said, like when you're overly in your masculine, you cap yourself from your income, but with the physical, you're going to cap yourself from the vibration if you're just feeding yourself crap or dehydrated all the time. And I've been really thinking about this from an energetic standpoint, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. So, you know, we're energetic beings, you know. We're mostly energy. We're the part of matter of us is so minuscule. And celery juice is high in mineral salts. So that is just from an energetic standpoint, we're energy, and physically we're a lot of water. So from my mind or my belief, which is probably why it's my belief, it's so powerful, it just amplifies our energetic body even more. Like it allows us to tap into it because salt is going to help be more conductive. So from an energetic standpoint and physical, like have you noticed any differences like with
Oh, girl.
celery? Yeah.
You're like, you're like such a like kindred soul to me, because I'm like, this is what I keep preaching, you know.
Yeah.
So right now I don't do any live events or in-person events because I'm carrying around baby, you know, like
Yes.
belly. But I used to do like retreats 2-3 times a year, like retreats like from 3 days to 7 days. Every single time when women come, like we're doing all clean diet, you know, all like natural, fresh fruits, veggies, fresh squeezed juices, all vegan, like farm source, and just like so beautiful. And they're like, I can't believe what a difference I'm feeling, how much faster they're manifesting. And this is something that I so deeply believe. And it's interesting because coming from me, like I used to struggle with eating disorder. I used to, like, for almost 2 decades, I used to struggle with like negative body image, you know, dysmorphia. And it's just like looking back now, like how much I have learned to like honor my body. I just can't put any crap inside. I just can't. Because the thing is, from the energetic standpoint and the physical, you will feel it. Come on. If you eat, you know, like greasy pizza, or if you make yourself, you know, your own, like I'm obsessed with baked potatoes, you know, or like, you know, and I do, like, I know medical medium that's lower fat. Now that I'm pregnant, I put like olive oil or coconut oil, you know, and I can just live on that. But I feel such a difference. And it's so interesting because when I'm pregnant now, like my senses are so much more in tune. Like my husband, he got me like a donut, like a vegan donut. I had one and I'm like, I feel so heavy and I feel so tired, and then I'm like craving like our baby girl, she's moving the most when I give her cherries, so it's like a natural food. But so this is from the physical standpoint. Be freaking honest with yourself. What are you eating? What are you drinking? Like, this is like making you who you are, how you think, how you feel. It's going to influence everything. From the energetic standpoint, it's so fascinating. And that's when I'm going even deeper in my business, because when I started as an abundance coach, it was like women came to me and they're like, I want to expand my business. I want to bring in more money, which is beautiful. But I realized they're not nurturing and nourishing themselves, which means they're not receiving, they're not allowing themselves to receive. If you don't allow yourself to receive and take care of yourself from the nutritional standpoint, how do you want to be receiving money and feel good about it, right? How do you want to hold energetic space for your clients? It's not fair to them and you, because you're not giving your best. You're just giving like the rest of you. And I've really seen the difference. And we do celery juice every single day with my husband. Now that I'm pregnant, I'm doing, instead of 32 ounces, 16 ounces, because it's a lot. It's a lot to me. And I feel like my stomach, it's like a little pea right now, so. But having mental detox, so every single rising when we wake up, what we do, it's lemon water, and I put raw local honey, and we have like goji berry honeys and beautiful just things. And my husband, he wakes up a little bit earlier than me, he brings it to my bed, so I wake up and I have 32 ounces of lemon juice every day. We juice celery, and of course, if we are traveling or we have early risings, I'm not saying we're perfect. Nobody cares about perfect, right? It's about what do we do majority of the time. But we do 16 ounces right now celery every day. Before I was pregnant, we were both doing 32 ounces of celery every day. And every day our breakfast, it's heavy metal detox smoothie. We don't do fats in the morning. Like I said, like I'm pregnant now, so I am doing a little bit more fats. It's just I'm listening to my body, but I'm doing like avocado or Brazil nuts, and so it's different. But we do it in the afternoon. I am completely plant-based for past 4 years, and it feels so good to me, because I feel like whatever I put in my body, it's creating my thoughts. How am I feeling? How am I attracting other people, and opportunities? And for me, I'm not here to like propone veganism, whatever. Each and every one of you do whatever you want. But it's so interesting. Like many years ago, like I would say like 6 years ago, I saw a video on YouTube from Ralph. He does like motivational videos, I think it's called the deep waters, deep divers, whatever, but he was saying like why he became vegan, because he said the energy that you ingest, it's going to influence everything you're doing. And he was like, imagine, and it's not only about the hormones that all the animals are being shot with and antibiotics, but even if you do kosher, pasteurized, whatever you want to buy to feel better, that animal still had fear. That animal still knew it will be killed. That animal still had adrenaline and cortisol running through the body. It goes into your body. So whatever you're putting in your body is going to influence how you're feeling, what you're doing. You get to really like be mindful about it. And you know what? There is this thing like, and I want to bring it up and I want to hear how you feel about it. Like when people tell me like, oh, everything in moderation, and I'm like, seriously? Would you take just a little bit of poison in a moderation every day? I can't, I don't get it. And again, it's not about being perfect. Like sometimes I have gluten, sometimes I have soy, and I know it's a no-no from medical medium. I'm conscious about it. I don't do it every day. And like, if you look at our like pantry and everything, like me, since I'm pregnant, all I'm craving is fruit. I want to, oh my gosh, do you know his strawberry watermelon ginger lemonade? It's still live for now. We're doing it almost every day now at home. It's so good. It's life-giving. It's so life-giving.
I just chopped up a watermelon. I've been eating it all morning. So now I'm like, I have to make that this evening. That sounds
So
so good.
good.
Yeah, I just feel, yeah, everything in moderation. There's this balance of, the intention of why you're doing it. And I know, like you said, you shared your past of, healing your eating disorder, and the whole diet industry itself, like it's based on lack.
Yeah.
And really learning to be so in tuned and honor your body. And my belief is that our bodies are the most physical or spiritual thing about us, because without this body, we wouldn't be having this experience on earth. And so
Mhm.
how can we honor that? And yes, like I still get French fries occasionally. Like that's like, of course, like my boyfriend brought me some last night. I had them. I love them. But it's like overall, how do I want to honor my body? And when, regardless if I'm eating the organic, like medical medium smoothie versus those French fries, I'm still going to approach when I'm actually consuming it with presence, with love, with gratitude. Because just like we were talking about bringing back the overly masculine part, where are you when you're actually eating food too? Are you stuck in fight or flight? Are you rushing around? Are you eating literally on the go? Or
Mhm.
can you just take a few moments to just take a few deep breaths? And what I like to do is I just slowly breathe and open my heart, and I close my eyes, I go through every single ingredient on my plate, and I thank the food, and I just see the energy in my mind's eye of the food, and I thank the farmers who grew it. I thank whoever made it. If it was me, I thank me too, I guess. And just the whole process. It only takes 15 seconds, but just to get ourselves into the energy to really be able to receive the nutrients, of this beautiful, organic, nutrition filled, energetic filled meal. I think that's so important too, is like, if we're still in fight or flight, I think, yeah, it's going to help. But like, do you want to really reap the benefits? Like, really receive everything that you are giving yourself and feeding yourself. So I'd love to hear, I mean, your thoughts on just like the energetics and mindset when you are receiving food.
It's so beautiful because what we do with my husband, we both work from home. So I'm so thankful for that, because like most of the times we have, like lunch together, dinner together. Sometimes he's like early at the gym and I make us, like oats or fruit salad, and he eats it on his desk. But like lunches and dinners, we usually have together. And every single time we eat together, we bless the food, because it's like, slow down and be present, and like really know what you're putting in your body. Again, it's not about perfection. I feel like I'm more in tune and more into this whole like nutrition thing. My husband, he was raised on like fast food and hot dogs and pizzas and pasta, so for him sometimes to ask me, like, he loves our rising routine. I'm so thankful. He loves the smoothies. Like, even though if I'm tired and I don't want to do it, he's like, oh, I'll do it. So it's so beautiful to see how it shifted in him. And sometimes he was like, hey, can we have just a salad for dinner? I was like, who are you? He would never eat veggies when he was like growing up and in his 20s. So it really does changes. And like I said, he's not as picky as I am. Like, he will have a gluten or he will have a tempeh, and like here and there he will have a cheese or something. Like, I'm 100% vegan. I would say he's like 90% vegan, just because his wife is. But he's so mindful. And I feel like we get to set the example of possibilities. And it's not only about strategy on how to activate abundance in your life and bring in more richness in your life. It's also about how are you treating yourself and what you're putting in your body. Sometimes this can be the biggest difference, because some of my clients, they feel stuck and they're going in a loops and they're like, well, Petia, but I'm doing the journaling and I'm doing the manifestation and I do the hypnosis and all the things. I'm like, well, how are you eating? How are you sleeping? And when my client says like, oh, I just rush to work and then I ate like after work, I'm like, are you crazy? You know, it's like, I can't. I just can't. It's like, what are you running on? Right? Like on adrenals and cortisol. And it's just like, you cannot build a life that it's fulfilling and successful and like lasting if you're not taking care of yourself on all the levels.
Yes, on all the levels. And I'm making it, I'm I'm getting there, but I'm making it more of a priority to actually lift weights. I practice yoga, but just, encouraged by my partner, he's like, embody your strength and your power. What's more powerful, right? Than really just feeling strong in your body. And that's something that's newer for me that I'm getting into more of, but just whatever feels aligned for you, right? And just, it's not, the food is a beautiful example, but physically, everything else about you, it can really, really, really help becoming unapologetically abundant, which is what I want to ask, kind of the closing question. I know that's your podcast name, right? Is unapologetically, but yes, it is. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. What does that mean? Kind of to wrap everything up that we talked about and then some. What does
Oh,
unapologetically abundant mean to you?
I love the question so much, because I realized along my journey, when I became unapologetically me, that's when the abundance comes. Not when I'm wearing the mask, not when I'm pretending, not when I'm trying to prove others. It's when I became a me, and when I honor me. I understand I'm not for everyone and I'm not even intending to be, but when you can really realize that, like who you came here to be, and being in that self-expression, that's when you bring abundance of relationships, of health, of richness in life, money, opportunities, because it's coming to you. I always say, like, you're asking God, source, universe to bring you things, but then you're pretending to be everyone for everything, like everything for everyone. How do you, like, it's like, the universe, it's like one big Amazon, like it can bring it to you, but it can't if you don't leave the right address. The right address, it's your right alignment with your soul and who you're being. So really, you want to bring in more abundance and alignment and richness in your life, you get to really get to be unapologetic about who you are and who you came here to be.
I love every single thing about that. The being real, right? I mean, not putting on the mask. And the irony for me is, the more that we can tune inward and connect with our higher selves or source, however we call it, that we lose the sense of self. We have that practice, the more in our waking day we can actually be our true self, because we know we have that connection to what it feels like. Am I putting on this mask, or, is this really me? So it's this balance of being able to let go of this persona or this mask to connect to the higher power, to gain the clarity to really be that real unapologetic version of you, which you do so well, Petia. I'm so happy that you were able to come on again before the new beautiful soul enters this world. Oh my goodness.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And it's always like such a pleasure to be in your energy, in your essence, and witness how you're blossoming and blooming. Like we were like, connected online, but seeing you face to face and hearing you and feeling you and being in your energy, it's very life-giving. You're such a blooming light for others around you. So I'm really inspired by you and by your work, and what an honor that I can be here today with you and talk with you and also serve your audience and ignite some new things in others. You never know. Sometimes we gotta hear the things thousands of times or with a different accent so it finally clicks, you know.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And I'm just taking a second to receive all of that too, because I think it's easy when we get compliments from people just to say, brush it off. Thank you. Okay, on to the next thing. And just being able to receive. So I appreciate, thank you for seeing me and, and gracing us with your presence today. It's such a pleasure. Just a side note, Petia posted, she's about to go on maternity leave and saying, hey, does anybody want, podcast guests? And I just, as soon as I saw that, I was like, yes, we're getting you in. Let's book you next week. Let's go. Of course, I want to shine her beautiful, abundant light with the world. So thank you. And I know you've been asked this before, but how may we, as the audience, as a huge act of love and gratitude, be of service for you in return today?
Oh, I love this beautiful question. And I feel like I just love being connected with others. And even though I go on my maternity leave, like connecting on Instagram or connecting on my podcast, Unapologetically Abundant, because that's through where I am sharing my light. And when people connect with me, they're allowing me to walk in my purpose. So I'm not talking here alone into the walls. So that's such a beautiful way on how to stay connected and co-create some magic together.
I agree. And everything will be in the show notes, so you guys can just click away and connect. But thank you so much, Petia, for coming on today. It was such an honor. And if you guys resonated with this episode or with her, make sure to share this episode, like, subscribe, follow, if you feel really called to write a review, because every time you do that, you don't know who else you're impacting. You're just helping radiate out the abundance of the show, Petia, of my energy. And so we all can really change and become the version of ourselves and the version of humanity that we know we truly are meant to be. Thank you so much, Petia.